Rama was a good husband. Ask the first speaker to come. Your team gets 5 minutes. Yeah, all together.
Yeah, you have 2 mics. You can use. Yeah, okay. Whichever.
Yeah, I think tell me when you start, huh?
Yeah.
Don't include my salutations in the minutes.
You have a proper time at 5 minutes. At 4 minutes, you give 1 bell. Yeah. At 5 minutes.
Yeah, 4 minutes give 1 bell. So if you got points, if
Yeah.
you feel like
As soon as she finishes, the next person has to be ready. Don't waste time in between. All are
Okay. Pujya Swamiji and respected members of the mission, Hari Om. Was Ram a good husband? But surely, who would know better than his only devoted, virtuous, truthful wife Sita? Nowhere in both the Ramayans has she ever indicated that she was a neglected, unhappy wife and blamed him for being anything but a perfect husband. In fact, Valmiki wrote the entire Ramayana based on inputs from Sita, where she absolutely glorified, adulated, praised him. She inculcated this same very image in the minds of her 2 sons, Love and Kush, and they was heard singing verses in praise of him during the Ashwamedha Yagya. Now, why would Sita, who was known to be quite opinionated and quite vocal about her points of view, ever not point out to any inadequacy in her husband's stature and instead praise and glorify him all the time if he was anything but a perfect husband? Even though it's practically impossible to understand, analyze the conduct of Ram and Sita, who were avatars and belonged to an entirely different era and came with a different purpose, a higher purpose, which we cannot even fathom. But for the sake of argument, let's list out what we feel are attributes that would make a man a perfect husband. Loyalty and commitment. How many of us ladies here are absolutely safe and secure, feel safe and secure because society allows man to marry only once? Well, ladies, we have Lord Ram to thank for that. In fact, before him, society was polygamous. His own father married 4 times. But Ram took the Ek Nari Vachan and remained true to it till the very end. He did not marry again. He did not take Mandodari as a wife, even though it was protocol at that time. He lived the life of celibacy because Sita was sent away to a hermitage. In fact, during the Ashwamedha Yagya, when his wife's presence was required, he made a golden statue of hers just to indicate his trust and his loyalty to his wife. Now, what is this if not an undeniable evidence that he was faithful, loyal, and committed? Everyone here would want a husband who believes in the equality of women and also respects their position in society. There are numerous examples in the Ramayana where Ram worked for rescuing and rehabilitating the downtrodden, ill-treated women of his times. Take the example of Ahilya, Mandodari, or even Tara and Shabri. Ram rescued and rehabilitated them against the tide. Now, why would a man who was so compassionate towards women, who was so progressive in his ideas about women's rights, would he be so inconsistent when it came to his wife? Well, he was not. He was an epitome of consistency of good conduct, and he remained so, because he was the Purna Purish, an ideal man, an absolutely ideal husband. Every woman wants a man who's loving, caring, takes care of her, listens to her, and is a good provider. Sita, in her own words, has narrated to Valmiki how much her husband cared for her. He assiduously was attentive to all her wishes. And his undying love can also be seen in the way a man of composure and balance completely broke down when she was kidnapped. During their period in exile, their love blossomed in trying times. She has narrated how happy she was as a wife. Now, why would a man who was indifferent to her, neglected her, so to speak, be described in such prolific verses by his own neglected wife? He was also a very indulgent husband when it came to it. All of us want indulgent husbands, but he was indulgent, and to the point that when she asked him to get the golden deer, though he knew that was a mirage, and he warned her, he still went after it just because he wanted to indulge in his wife's wishes. A good husband will spare absolutely no efforts to protect, rescue, and safeguard his wife. Ram put together such a large army, risked his life, risked the life of so many others just to go and rescue Sita from the clutches of Ravana. Who but a loyal, devoted, responsible husband who was following his patni dharma to the T would ever risk his own life for his wife? Despite knowing it, Ram never blamed, criticized, or pointed a finger at Sita for being the perpetrator, for being the direct cause of the war. Try losing your car key once and see what ensues after that. As a wife, you would all want a husband whom you can look up to, who you can be proud of being a partner to. Sita married Ram, the Purna Purush, the complete man, Maryada Purushottam. Although his actions cannot be understood from a myopic, superficial point of view, one has to understand the purpose and intents behind it. It is no wonder then that today we are told to do what Krishna said, but to do what Ram did. Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you. Now we have 5 minutes against. So have you decided how many speakers? How many speakers against? Just one? Have you decided on one speaker? Then you have 5 minutes. Okay.
Please come front. There are more ladies coming in, so they need space. Please come front.
Come forward.
Hi, I must congratulate you because after listening to you, my whole arguments also seem to wonder what am I going to say. But
It purely comes from bhava. Say, Ram can be described according to your bhava. It is the bhava that came out.
So mine is a prepared speech. I knew nothing about the Ramayana. These are inputs from people and my mother-in-law. Mine is not a bhav. Mine is based on that. Okay. So I start by saying that I've been given the difficult task of criticizing Lord Ram, and I have to say that he has not been an ideal husband. To begin with, since we are all students of Vedanta, the basic premise is very clear, that the Lord had his reasons for doing what he does, and that nothing he does is without reason. It's all a part of his larger plan and picture. So, the genesis of the Ramayana is that the Sanat Kumars were denied entry into Vaikuntha by the doorkeepers Jay and Vijay, and were cursed with 3 lives of being born as demons. At the same time, they were assured by the Lord himself that he would liberate them in each birth. One of these births was as Ravan and Kumbhakarna, and that's why the Lord in his Leela made Sita the cause for killing them. With this background, knowing all that has happened was the Lord's Leela, I, a mere mortal, have to oppose his larger plans, which he, as a god, had reasons to do so, as just explained. So it made me think. The topic for the debate was he an ideal husband? So I'm going to approach this debate not questioning him as Lord Ram, but from the point of view of a mere mortal, as the worldly relationships of husband and wife. As me as a woman, a wife would react if my husband treated me the way Lord Ram did to Sita. So to begin my story from a mortal's point of view, I'm found in a pot in the earth by King Janak, who adopts me as his daughter. As a princess, I have a Swayamvar, and I marry the most handsome, eligible and honest of men, Prince Ram, and I wish I could have said I lived happily ever after. But no, the honeymoon ends soon, and I, a dutiful wife, so in love with my husband, leave the luxury and comfort of the palace and accompany my husband and brother-in-law Lakshman to the forest to live a hermit's life. Fate has a different things in store for me, and I am soon kidnapped by the Rakshas Ravan and taken to his kingdom in Lanka. I am, of course, responsible for this kidnapping, and so I suffer my imprisonment in Lanka, fending off the lascivious advances of Ravan ever so often, while pining and dreaming of my dear beloved husband Ram. Finally, there is a battle. Ravan is killed, and my husband comes to rescue me. Excited to meet him after such a long separation, I dress myself like a new bride when I go to meet him. But what am I told? Sorry, you have to undergo trial by fire, Agni Pariksha, to test your purity, and then prove that you have been untouched by any man. I undergo the humiliation and come out with flying colors. We return to Ayodhya and are happy again. But happiness was not in my fate. A mere dhobi, not even a learned man, refused to take his wife back, who had spent the night out for unavoidable reasons because he suspected her fidelity, and said, I'm not like Ram, who takes back his wife after she's been away from home so long. And based on this comment made by a dhobi, me, a pregnant wife, am taken and left near sage Valmiki's ashram in the forest to fend for myself. I give birth to twin boys who were trained and educated in all princely qualities by Rishi Valmiki. My children grow up, there's an Ashwamedha ritual, the children catch the horse, etc. My husband realizes that he has twin sons. He pleads with sage Valmiki to send me back. I've had enough by this time. I give my children back to their father to take their rightful place as princes. And as for myself, I choose to go back to my Mother Earth rather than face any further humiliation. Can I just finish 30 seconds? Look at my fate. Lived as a princess before marriage and then married to a prince who was destined to be a king. But lived practically my whole life in a forest away from a man I dearly loved. Because for him, being an ideal king was more important than being a loving, nurturing husband. I asked myself and all the women present here, that being mere mortal, would I want a fate like Sita's? For me, the answer is a resounding no for all the worldly reasons. But we all know that Ram and Sita's story is a divine play.
Amma, I think we do it the other way now. Let the counter questioning happen, so that one topic is over.
Okay. Yeah. So we throw it open to the two sides. Do you have any
You have 5 minutes to question and prove their arguments wrong. You have 5 minutes to prove their arguments wrong. I mean, anyone can go. Your group, whoever wants to go can go.
Yeah, any of you.
Jai Shri Ram. Here we'd like to point out that you in your argument have said, in your case rather, have said that she loved him. Not once have you said she hated him. Because what was the premise of that love? We are going by the premise that Sita was a neglected and unhappy wife. Nowhere is she. No, she followed her dharma, but then why was she?
Follow his dharma.
He did. He was the upholder.
Where was
No,
his,
like it is going to be like this.
where
I
was
think
his
we.
No,
No,
Hariom,
I'm
she
talking.
will get her 5 minutes. She has to present her case.
But she's already presented.
No. She is counteracting your argument.
I'm taking point after point, so I can't battle so many of them. No.
One point at a time. Otherwise,
Yeah, this will become very, that's what I was saying, one point. So first and foremost, I would like to say that you yourself, in your case, have said that she loved him, she pined for him. She would not have done so if she thought of him anything less than perfect. The second thing is that she was meant to go away. After her honeymoon, she was sent into to accompany him. Its point to be noted here is that she never was asked to go. In fact, Ram, out of concern for her, asked her to stay back in the luxury of the palace, to which she argued that she would like to be true to her Patni Dharma and would want to accompany him. In fact, she was very vociferous and very strong in her presentation of a case, to which Ram heard her out and he relented. So he never asked her to accompany him. The Agni Pariksha was taken just because he wanted to prove without a doubt to the general public that she was pure, and he was 100% sure of it. Imagine a scenario when you're in a car with your husband and you're stopped by the cops. The husband is a teetotaler and you're sure about it. What will you tell the cops? You'll say, ले लो breath analyzer test, उसमें क्या परेशानी है? झिक-झिक क्यों कर रहे हो? ले लो. At that time, she does her dharma as a patni, and what he did was adharma. I don't believe you. Anyway, and the second thing that you said was she was sent away to an ashram. Here I'd like to point out that during the times that we are talking about, it was the normal practice. That in apatikal, times of crisis, the woman was sent away to the most safe, secure and nurturing environment of a Gurukul, where she could not be harmed in any way. That's exactly what Ram did. And he also did that because when she was pregnant, Sita had expressed a desire to be in the satsang of Valmiki, and she thought that would be the absolutely conducive environment to give birth to and rear her children. So in a way, he was again going by what his wife had told him. She was never banished. Banished was Ram when he was sent away by Kaikeyi to the forest. She was just put from his direct care in Ayodhya to his indirect care in Valmiki's ashram, which belonged to her, to his kingdom, as he was the Chakravarti Raja.
I don't need to go into this. I love
No, please come. No, please. You are taking it there. No, please. Come.
Ram's role as a dharmic husband, did he ever ask his wife, what is your choice in this? He just banished her, he just sent her away. He knew that she was pregnant, she was going to have a pair of twins, but he just sent her away without even once going to check on her or even asking on her whereabouts and how she is. Nothing. Did he go and see his children? Never. First and foremost, coming back, Ram's love for Sita was just love at first sight. He was just so enamored by her that he just wanted to marry her straight away. I mean, what kind of a love is a consistent love when you say this is love at first sight? In today's day, do we accept love at first sight as a
So many
constant?
people, hello.
But if it doesn't stay, does it love at first sight?
How do we know?
Okay, we're talking about Ram. Okay, when we talk about in Vedanta, the power dharma, it should be a discriminative dharma. You don't just rule it. Okay, this is my dharma. I will not listen to what Sita will want to say or what she feels about it. Did he even ask her once? No. I mean, he was a control freak. I don't think in today's day and age people like that. So I would not even consider that as one of the positive dharmic qualities.
And I just want to add, I'm not as well versed as you are in the Ramayana, but basing my own arguments, because this is what I know, is what I've been told, that still she even accompanied him to the forest. What a dutiful wife. Obviously she loved him, so she went happily with him. And all was well till that Agni Pariksha, where everything was fine. He went looking for the deer, for knowing as a king that there is no gold deer. But I think at the end of the day, when you have been pining for your husband and he tells you now undergo this trial by fire, I don't think that's something that I would like to do. And also when the Devi is saying that she is untouched, I mean that look at her, whatever that thing is, you send your pregnant wife away. I mean, that's where I part ways with his idealism. There's no doubt that he loved her, that he's kept that golden statue, everything. There is no question of doubting. But what was his final goal? He'd rather be an ideal king versus a loving and nurturing husband.
Okay, so now she gets the last chance to counter, because you have countered her arguments. They will counter yours and present whatever justification they
I
have.
just have one point, Swami. Could I? Well, it's all very well that he loved her and all of that, but she was such a beautiful woman. So why did he allow her to be taken away by Ravan, kept in this ashram, and constantly under prying eyes? So there was so much danger. I mean, anything could have happened to her. As in current time, she could have been kidnapped, she could have been molested, and all of that could have happened. But
You're talking about the ashram as in Valmiki's ashram, in Ravan's Lanka. Okay.
She was all by herself, fending for herself.
That is why he went for her. That is why he...
After how long? After how long? She was left to fend for herself, literally, and put through fire. So
Okay.
a beautiful woman, a wife that he loved, I don't think, kind of putting her
Okay.
and telling her to go through the Agni Pariksha is any way to find out how pure the wife is.
Number one, let's take the Agni Pariksha. He did not ask her to go through the Agni Pariksha because he doubted her chastity. It was to prove a point to the Janta because he knew she would come out unscathed. Again, reference the breath analyzer test. So we won't go into that. The second point is that it was love at first sight. Love at first sight, my dear women, would not have withhold the test of time, and he would have happily taken on Mandodari, the defeated Raja's wife, as his consort, because anyways it was protocol. He did not take another wife. So it was much, much deeper than love at first sight. Why did Sita dutifully accompany him? So she was a better wife than he was a husband? No. She was a collaborator on his mission to set dharma. He knew she would understand. She was the daughter of a statesman like Raja Janak. So he knew she would understand. Why did he listen to the washerwoman, washerman? Because he was operating as an integrated upholder of dharma. Not only looking short-sightedly as his dharma of a pati, but also at his dharma as the king. So he was sent down he came down rather as an avatar in the human form to set the dharma, rules to be followed by society. Where he has left us a lesson to learn that when it comes to a dharma sankat, where two roles of ours in society that we are expected to play out are clashing, we have to choose the higher goal. We have to choose the higher good of mankind, the higher good over the lower. That doesn't mean we compromise. That doesn't mean that just because he wanted to be the good king to his subjects, did he become a bad husband to Sita. He went according to hierarchy of dharma, and he adjusted his dharmas, but he never abandoned his duties towards her, never abandoned Sita.
He was such a good
No,
husband.
hurry on, over. Your chance is over. Now you can't. Now you can't. It's over. Now it's over.
Thank you. Now we go on to Rama was a good son.
No, 1 minute. Audience.
Oh,
Audience.
you don't do it at the same time. Okay.
Yeah, finish up this topic.
Yeah, okay. Okay, now it's open to the audience.
So audience can ask the question pointed to particular team, and depending on their response, they will be awarded the mark.
Can I just have one question for the audience to answer? The audience can answer it.
No. Audience only will ask you.
Ask question. Yeah? One. That lady behind you raised her hand first. Then I'll take you up.
You can't compare a breath analyzer to a pariksha. Absolutely. Breath analyzer is just something you pump and then you get the result. Pariksha is very demeaning for a woman. And for her to think that her husband is not trusting her. I mean, he should have just said that no, she is pure and I believe that she is pure. He doesn't need to do anything if he trusted her. He didn't have to prove a point.
Okay. Vibha, your question. We'll take the questions first.
Related to the same thing, the 14 said that to prove to the Janta, he knew that she was pure, but to prove to the Janta, he made her go through the Agni Pariksha. But then after that proof is over, then why he listened to the washerwoman Devi and
Anybody? Somebody else answer? From this team. Yeah, somebody else can get a chance to speak from your team. Yeah.
Yeah, she just said that Ram wanted to prove something about the dharma. He was a king. He just chose civil dharma over husband dharma, whatever. That's why he sent his wife away in the ashram and all. So why in today's time can we see that thing is still there? Can today's husband can they do that over their civilian duties? They will send their the dear ones to the someone just to prove that they are right to their country or right to their
Okay. Now one person from your team, whoever wants to answer.
This third question she's asked is, can you see today? Yesterday what you were saying, you can say.
First, I'll begin by answering the last question. Here, we are talking about today's time. So we'll start with today's times, a comparison. For example, the army personnel, they also have two dharmas. One duty towards the country and one the duty towards their wife. Imagine a scenario of a 25th wedding anniversary of the head of army. And he's committed to his wife over 25 years that we'll have a beautiful party. I will be with you from morning to night. And there comes a call of war to protect the country. What would you as normal citizens expect him to do?
I think this is
hierarchy of duties. Integration in your dharmas. is what he set an example for. Do not decry, do not absolve yourself of the duty of a husband. But when it comes to a higher duty, a higher calling, make that hierarchy. Integrate your personality so that you're being true to every level. But it has to be followed. Aren't we doing that on an everyday basis? Aren't we doing this every day when our duty as a mother towards our child? And we promise something to the child, but suddenly something more important comes up in life. There's an illness, there's a death, there's a funeral to attend. We make a choice then. The child may be raving, ranting, crying, but does that make us a bad mother? No. We are prioritizing our duties. We are going according to the hierarchy, and we are integrating our entire life so that we are true at every level, but yet we know the hierarchy in which it has to move. That is what he did. As far as the breath analyzer not being as this comparable to the Agni Pariksha, there is no Agni Pariksha now. So how can I prove to you anything on this basis? We are talking about the Trataya Yuga, where he came down as an avatar. There are no avatars now. No. He never wanted to put her through the test. If at that time, if we are talking about two different yugas, we have to draw parallels. If we are talking about two different yugas, we have to draw parallels to make comparisons. There is no Agni Pariksha in today, so I cannot prove the worth of it today. But at that time, it was a norm among the lower classes. And if he, as a king, would have said, it's okay if you all practice it among the lower classes, but I am king, I'm above the law, then that was what would get recorded. That the king is above the law, the praja has to do it, but the king can keep his wife at all costs.
He did not tell the Dhobi to leave his wife.
So are you talking about him as a mortal or as a god?
We are comparing
He's talking him about him only as a mortal, right? Not as a god. He's talking as a mortal.
But you are different. What Ram did not tell as a Dhobi to leave the wife.
Okay. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Any questions for the audience?
Yes. The point where this lady brought up beauty, what is a woman's beauty got to do with sending her away or not? Your wife is your wife, whether she's beautiful or not. I mean, in what context do you say beauty is defined as a reason for keeping her away?
Not keeping her, for protecting her.
No, but what's beauty got to do with it? A woman is a woman.
Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't need, any woman would need, if she's beautiful or she's not beautiful, doesn't make, she doesn't need a
security, right?
No, but what does beauty got to do with
It's not only beauty that
No,
is
you
defined.
brought it up as
Beauty of mind, of soul, of
Okay. Order.
Yeah, so you are saying no. Already both of you are saying no.
When she compares, when she gives a comparison of a...
Hari Om. One at a
See, you can't give the repudiation of her points to the answer to the audience. That is not allowed.
But she's saying you can...
No, she's not saying.
Okay.
She
So now,
But that is not right now your
Hari Om.
prerogative because she has to answer the audience, and if audience is not satisfied with her argument, our audience will question back.
But Swami, no, but I have one question. How many people...
Are you the audience?
Yes.
Or are you a part of the team?
Not at all. I'm just an audience.
So then ask her as the audience.
I would compare a army chief with a mortal man.
Army chief is also mortal.
Totally different. He didn't fight for the country. He didn't allow his wife to suppress for the cities as a king. But he was just testing her randomly because people were talking about.
I think we need to get clarity on the Ramayana before
Because
we make
people
a
were
call,
talking
because
about. Nobody was talking about. She was with Ravan for so long. That is why. Not because for his duties.
And he did have a duty to his...
He never came back to her.
So you're trying to say that the king has got no duty towards the praja?
They do,
But to see that there's no...
I interfere here. I am sorry, but you have to get your facts clear. Ram did what he did as a king for his country. Go back to Ramayana and refer them. It was not done randomly just as a person, as a husband who had his women fancy, okay, now chalo Agni mein chalega. So that point is not valid.
He was not yet coronated at that time.
okay, now this
He
we
may
can
not, I
keep.
come to that point. He was not yet coronated at that. When I give my...
Yeah, when he sums it up, Swamiji is going to tell us, I mean, what according to Ramayana and according to Swamiji and according to Dharma is the right way to act. Yes?
I just understood the last point
which he said about the beautiful woman, what was it that she was trying to say? That when he went to Lanka, how did Ram allow her to go to Lanka? What was he trying to say? That how did what are you looking at Ram over here, as a lord or as a husband or as a mortal? When she's asking a question like that how did he allow Sita to be taken to Lanka and how she had to fend for herself? But isn't that so of any victim of kidnapping?
Yes.
I mean, a victim doesn't say, "Aao mujhko le lo," or the husband doesn't say, "Aao meri wife ko kidnap kar lo."
So if he is God,
No, we are talking.
We are not discussing him as God over here. We are discussing him as
why would it take so long to reach her?
What is the logic? So long.
Yeah.
He has
This stops here because this point is well taken. It is not that he allowed her to go there and then he took his own sweet time to reach there, though he knew that she is there. Arey, come on, they took time to find out where the hell she is first of all.
Build that bridge to
So that argument is held valid here. Okay, here we stop.
Stop. No. Hari Om. We go on to the next.
Go to the next one.
Next factor, was Rama a good son?
Yes.
And so, how many speakers? 2, na? So then you have, we divided between 2 of you, the time. Yeah. And then 5 minutes altogether and then 5 against.
Respected Swamiji and friends, Ram Avatar is known as Purna Purush Avatar, a God in human form with high ideals to guide us all to live a virtuous life. Ram was embodiment of how son should behave. For him, his father was everything, and he respected all his 3 mothers equally. He was an ideal son, respectful, obedient, and dutiful. In fact, King Dashrath had never ordered his beloved son to go for Vanvas or to honor Kaikeyi's selfish demands arising from her insecurity. But Ram did not hesitate for a moment and decided to honor all 4 demands of Kaikeyi. He was very clear in his mind because to honor his father's promise was his dharma. But we mortals have many questions. Bhagwan Ram was son of Kaushalya too. Why he did not think of his mother and her grief? He also knew that his father loved him immensely and could not live without him. We accept that to honor his father's promise was important. But is it right for him for letting his father die in Putravira? But our vision is limited. Lord Rama, Maryada Purushottam, was born in human form for a specific mission, to destroy evil and to show the world the path of dharma. Like Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana is an epic depicting Dvandva, struggle between dharma and adharma, shreya and preya, emotions and intellect. Ram did not allow his emotion to overrule his intellect. So friend, today on Ram Navmi, we bow to Purna Purushottam Ram, epitome of highest ideals. By his conduct, Ram set standards of exemplary behavior in whatever roles, on all the roles of life. So today, our greatest offering to Lord Rama would to follow the discipline laid down by him. And and whatever role we have been given to by Almighty to play, be clear about what is right and have courage to follow the greater goal without compromising the values.
Hari Om. My friend over here has already mentioned a few points, so I'm not going to repeat them. I only want to tell you that how devout a son Ram was. And out of Dashrath's 4 sons, Ram is considered, as she's already told us, an embodiment of ideal qualities. Be it a son, friend, husband, master, or ruler, he is an ideal son, a son unequaled in the world. Now, why is that so? One is he is known to be a devout son. So, in spite of Dashrath, in spite of Kaikeyi telling Kaikai was doubting whether Ram would go to the forest or not. So what did Dashrath tell her? Dashrath tells her, you are doubting the veracity of Ram. He's a Vachan Putra. Mind you, Ram speaks what he means, what he says, what he does. The moon may give up its beauty, the Himalayas its coldness, and the ocean its boundaries. But Ram will not disobey the commands of his son. Such was his devotion. His father says that, yes. Is there anyone who can deny the fact that Ram was a devout son? Is there anyone over here? Another point about Ram over here is that he was a follower of Dharma. Whatever came in his way, Ram was a Dharma Putra. Ram will not forget his Dharma. He was a Kshatriya first. So, as we have all seen, even in the Bhagavad Gita, what did Krishna tell Arjun? That you are a Kshatriya, so you have to fight. Your first duty is to fight. So did Ram. What did he do? Because he was a Kshatriya, he fulfilled his father's wishes. In spite of his mother, brother pleading with him, he upheld the dharma over emotions. BMI, we have all heard about this. So what was more important for him? Was it his mind which was important? No. His emotions which were important? No. His dharma was more important for him. And that's why he went to the forest. Of course, as Lord, he already knew that he had to, his mission, as my friend already pointed out, was to go and kill Ravan. But he, as a mere mortal also, it was his dharma. To fulfill his dharma, he left to go to the forest. He let his wife also go with him because it was her dharma to follow him. A wife's dharma is always to go wherever the husband is, and that's why he let his wife also go with him. Now, if I compare Ram to a Mughal emperor, what would he have done? Shah Jahan, what happened to Shah Jahan? Aurangzeb imprisoned him because his birthright. He wanted to rule the kingdom before his father passed away. Here Dashrath was pleading to him, you stay back and you rule Ayodhya. But did Ram do that? No. He could have easily imprisoned Dashrath, put him away, and Ayodhya would have been with him because people of Ayodhya loved Ram. But Ram did not do that. He thought of his dharma over his emotions, over his birthright. Above everything, his dharma was most important to him. And as a conclusion, I have the 2 points about Ram being a devout son, and he always followed his dharma. He always felt his dharma was above his emotions. Even as a mere mortal, Ram felt that dharma was above his emotions. Thank you very much.
Okay. Now, Ram was not a good son. How many people? Then accordingly you divide your time. 2? Okay. 4. Oh dear. Yeah. So don't repeat the points if they've been already said by the person before.
One minute. You were not in a part of the... then it was not required. Then that whole question answer was not required. Because if she was not a part of your group, why was she asking the questions?
And from the audience, I think.
No, not from the audience. That was in the second round that she presented her case. No, you can present now, but I am saying that in that round,
that question is not valid.
That beauty and that question was
is not valid.
That was not valid at all.
It was only
because
for the public.
You could have brought it out in the third round, which is the audience round.
Just to bring it out to the audience?
No, not in the audience. Second round. Counter argument.
Okay.
So just to make it clear, in the second round, only the team members will ask the questions again.
Yeah, because I was not sure. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Please come.
It's okay, come.
Can you hear me?
No, please use the mic.
Because I'll be spending some time adjusting the mic. Okay, good morning, friends. And it's a really interesting debate, and we are learning a lot out here. And I've been chosen by my team to speak in the negative. Now I just want to make a little, I just want to know, we're talking of Ram as a mortal, Swamiji, completely as a mortal, right? And we are talking about dharma and versus emotion, God versus mortal. So as a child, I remember my mother telling me, when you talk to God,
treat him as a mortal. Talk to him, share with him, question him. Do not constantly ask him. Do not constantly tell him to do things for you, but treat him as a friend, as a mortal. So that tells me, that makes me, kind of go back to my childhood and from where I began connecting with God just as a friend. And all us mortals definitely have emotions overriding our dharma. So when my, Rupal opponent said that he put everything above emotion, he put his dharma forth above emotion. Hey, but I just want to ask you, if he is mortal, just like all of us here, would we mortals leave our father, brother, mother, and go away to do our duties? I think we mortals have overriding emotions, and we would definitely come back from wherever we are and spend some time and go back and help our kith and kin. Especially when Dashrath was dying for his son, Bharat went all the way into the forest to get him back. Kaikeyi took her boon back, and to the extent Kaushalya pleaded so much with her son, saying, please come back, because without you, I'm not going to be as respected and loved in this palace. So think about it, all of us here. And he was born as a human being. He took human form. He was born in a palace with wealth. He followed dharma. He was born with wealth. He desired Sita and, of course, liberation. I am not sure how Ram ended his life on earth. So I definitely feel that emotions does play a very vital role as mortals. But of course, as God, he's Purushottam. So that really for the people who are on the positive of Ram, the negative really only if you look at him as a mortal and not as a god, then there is room for argument here. Yes, thank you very much.
Next person from this group. Only additional points.
Just one point I have, that's all. Hari Om. Well, I don't have too much to say. There's just one thing which I would like to bring out. Basically, Ram is the son of a king who would have wanted his subjects to prosper. By accepting his father, King Dashrath's wishes on his deathbed, Ram may have satisfied Dashrath personally and fulfilled his selfish wishes, but he did harm to Dashrath's legacy in history and potential harm to the kingdom. Dashrath was not following dharma when he was swayed by his attachment to his wife Kaikeyi. He asked Ram to go to the forest to uphold his personal vow, and he chose to deprive Ayodhya of a king whose wisdom was supreme. It is not always desirable for the son to follow the desires or dictates of his father with blind devotion. At least that's the way we see it today. The son should also use his own intellect and decide whether the action asked of him is appropriate or not. By asking Ram to leave, Dashrath inadvertently ended up punishing the people of Ayodhya also. Ram was adorned with all the virtues and he was adored by the citizens of Ayodhya. When he left the city, which was joyous till then, a cloud of gloom and despair descended upon them for no fault of theirs. Even though Bharat may have been a competent ruler, Ram was Lord Vishnu incarnate, and Bharat would never be able to come close to Ram's caliber. Thank you.
Okay, now from this team.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Righteousness is a great virtue, but every step taken has to be evaluated in the content of human relationships, which are full of shades of grey. Okay. Righteousness is a great virtue, but every step taken has to be evaluated in the content of human relationship, which are full of shades of grey. It is in this context that we evaluate Ram as a son and his decision to honor his father's word by living in exile. Were the fallout of his action considered by Rama before leaving Ayodhya, despite being urged by his own father and gurus Vishwamitra and Vasishta to do otherwise? Was the impact this would have on his family or in Ayodhya thought even at large? Taking a step back and just purely for the sake of discussion, as the teaching of Ram through his life are not debatable, this single decision changed the course of history without necessarily bringing joy to everyone involved. As she has mentioned, what happened to Dashrath, his death, and the entire city was in gloom. King Dashrath's death resulted in all three of his wives becoming widows. Ram's honoring his father's promise also ensured that all three mothers lived without their son for 14 years, and Bharat never forgave his life till the end, lived in Nandigram. Urmila also suffered, and according to Hindu Shastras, father-in-law is also considered equal to father. Ram's decision to move away caused a great sorrow to King Janak, Sita's father, who had to bear through his daughter's sorrow. Moving away from his personal life, the city of Ayodhya itself did not benefit without a competent leader like Ram. Taking into account all these things, Ram's decision to leave Ayodhya did end up bringing pain and sorrow to people around him, and he's trying to convey through this is no one is perfect. There are limitations to every one of us in every relationship. No one, even God, can please everyone at all time. A certain decision taken by an individual are bound to leave unpleasant consequences for some people. And everyone has to go through the cycle of pain and pleasure. It is Lord Ram, he thought to emphasize that in Manushya avatar, no one can escape the fruit of his actions, the karma phala. In this avatar, he is trying to bring out the difference between idealism and practicalism. And can we consider him an ideal son in this respect? Because of his ideal, he ignored various sensitivities of his relationships. And because of his principle of Raghukula Reet, Sada Chali Aaye, he, in upholding his father's word, caused a lot of pain and sorrow to entire of his family.
I would like the team members to please raise their hands first, so that we know who are the members for and who are against.
They are all sitting here, and they are all sitting here, the four and the against.
Only for the son, because what happens is suddenly somebody asks, we don't know who is.
For the son and against the son.
For the son is 1, 2, 3. And who is one more? Yeah. 4. Against? Against the son, who are the members?
Against the son.
1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Okay. So now the counter question can start.
Any ask each other anything. You want to say something first?
When the question comes.
Yeah. Questions?
No, we just want to we can counter.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask one thing about what she said was, in spite of Dashrath telling Ram that you don't go, and he went, and was it his duty not to stay with his father rather than go to the... So this is just a point raised to this is, just as a debt of the father has to be paid off, even the Kshatriyas believe that the debt of a father. Because he had asked, Kaika had asked her boons, and he was only fulfilling those boons. Those boons had to be fulfilled by Ram, because otherwise the debt, his father's debt, would have not been, he wouldn't have been, he would have not gone to heaven or whatever you call that. So that is the reason he had to fulfill his boons.
Runa.
His runa.
His runa.
So, and then also, any other questions?
I have an answer to that. If you're talking about the death and uplifting his father's, kind of
uplifting him and taking him to the next
level. There is one more thing that according to Hindu Shastras, the eldest son does the last rites of the father. When Dashrath died, he was unattended. The Ram was away in the forest. He was called, he never came back. And the other sons were...
He was not called for the father's death.
He knew. Bharat told him that he's died.
Yeah, but
and now there is no father, there is no promise.
No, he was not called at the funeral time. He was called, your father is dying, so please come back. And that time he did not come back because he was fulfilling his father's
duty
and thing.
Okay, so even his duty is also to do the last rites of his father, which he missed out.
But he had 3 sons also. So
But the other
if
two,
he doesn't
Lakshman
have-
was with him and the other two were in their this thing.
No,
So
Bharat
Rama's
very
body
much there.
remained unattended for quite some time without being attended by anyone.
Shatrugna was there, he had 4 sons, and as somebody said that he
But
was
you're
an
talking about
inadequate
the eldest
father, Ram was only the adequate king. I don't believe that also. Bharat was as adequate, and actually people believe that the 4 sons were 4 heads of Brahma. So all 4 were equal to ruling the kingdom. It's not that they were not equal to ruling the kingdom at all. That's what one point somebody made. So I'll just counteract.
He was not even declared as a king at that point of time. He was still a son. So he was just following his putra dharma at that point.
And Ayodhya wouldn't have suffered at all because...
Yeah, just counter your argument.
No, I was just saying that from what I have understood, I may be wrong, but Ram is supposed to be Lord Vishnu incarnate.
Himself,
Totally.
yes.
He's supposed to be 100%. They were all born out of the same. They were not like biologically born. So out of that, what I have understood is Bharat is supposed to be 25% Vishnu. And Shatrugna and that's what
That's all heads of Brahma.
So that was, so you know, they are not equivalent to Lord.
He was as competent a king as Ram. We're only talking about mortal, we're not talking about Lord as Ram as Lord or anything. We're talking about his 4 sons who were equally good.
One at a time, please. Can we have one at a time?
But Kaikeyi did withdraw her mood. Somewhere in the middle she felt and she said, okay, please come back.
That means if Kaikeyi afterwards thought again, after he came back, okay, now Ram, you need to go back, he has to go back.
Yes, through the boon and was pleading for Ram to come back. But come back.
But that's what Ram was all
because she realized this her mistake.
But no, but if after this, if she still feels when he comes back, no matter
Who would trust her?
We don't trust her.
That is also...
But we definitely know that she withdrew her.
She withdrew her.
No,
Yes,
that point is taken because that can't be followed that way. That whenever she likes, she takes a boon. Whenever
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
she likes,
You
that
can't
point
trust
is valid
her.
of hers.
You can't trust her.
That point is accepted.
Okay. Anything else? Now open to the audience. Does the audience have anything else to counter argue for, against? Otherwise we go on to the next subject.
Each time they are arguing about, him being an ideal son, they're only taking it with Kaikeyi and King Dashrath. Why are we not considering his own birth mother? At no point are we looking at his relationship, his duty towards his
But
mother.
Kaushalya has never,
For or against?
okay, but
For.
Kaushalya has never asked him to come back because Kaushalya knew that he was following the dharma. It is all the other 3 people have asked him to come back. Kaushalya has never asked him to come back as far as I know.
As a mother, I think it's very important that when you look at your children, you look at what is good for them, not what is good for you. So I don't think any of us as mothers, if we have to make a choice which makes our children progress.
You have your own sense of duty. You don't
No,
just
because
see
you are
the mother
asking,
right or wrong.
because you are asking about Kaushalya. So I'm saying as a mother, if today our child would make a decision which would leave us alone but would make them progress, I don't think anyone as a mother would object to it. That's
And
why for
I
Kaushalya.
think Sri Ram was seeing the overall view of the whole thing, and of course as a lord he already knew why he had to go to the forest and why he had to proceed towards Lanka. But as a mortal also, I think he saw the overall view of the picture, and that's why he was very adamant that not adamant, but he was actually he was adamant of following his dharma. But
Okay.
But I think there's a constant overlap. Is he a mortal? Is he Lord? Is he
No, this is a
To make it clear, it is only from mortal standpoint. You don't need to bring the divine standpoint
At all.
Because each time you bring the divine standpoint, then there's no case for argument.
No, we're not bringing the divine standpoint at all.
Don't bring the divine standpoint.
But that's why you're talking of him as mortal.
Right.
Because there won't be any
That's
argument.
why we're talking of the emotions, his personality type, and Kaushalya did feel deserted, felt dejected, helpless. I did make a point saying that she wanted Ram to be there, she wanted him to be king, so that she would get respect and love from Dashrath and not
But that
be...
is a very selfish attitude anyway.
But that's the mother in
That is the mother talking, so he doesn't have to encourage her because she has these selfish ideas. He doesn't.
Okay. All right.
Emotion over dharma. He could have empathized with her feelings as a son.
So he empathized, he
But he does not
But
have
he's
to
still
encourage.
there.
Even if it is your child, you will not, if your child is asking for something wrong, you're not going to encourage it. You will say, okay, you are fine, what you are saying is right, but I'm still going to do what is right according to my dharma.
We are talking about Ram. We are not talking of us being parents because we are mere mortals and we might be.
Again the same thing.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Second round is over, no? So now it's only the audience who can ask. You are a part of the team which is against. So right now you can't counter ask. Your point was already taken earlier.
Yeah, I think we're running out of this thing also. So I think we'll stop this here.
Because I'm not aware of that. She didn't take back her boon. I mean, people came to call him back and say,
Yeah, but she never took back.
He never took her boon back.
Swamiji will sum up. Swamiji will tell us that. So let's stop this round here. And now we go on to the third topic. Was Ram a good friend?
Okay, 1 minute. So in this round...
1 minute, Hari Om. No talking in between, please.
In this round, the against team will speak first. Then the for.
Okay, he was not a good. How many speakers from the against? One? Okay.
First raise their hands.
Just one? Okay.
No, speaker may be one, but how many team members?
Only one. I'm only one here. We both are in the same class. We only one.
Four.
So we are
Four.
and three.
Okay, 3 for friend and 1 for...
Against. Okay, come. And there's a request, just introduce yourself, your name and which class you're from before you start.
So I finish part of the but don't you can't take the point.
I'm Alka from I'm Alka from Manju and Vinita ji's class. One is at Worli and one is at Pedder Road. Now when I got this topic of speaking against Ram as a friend, I called up my aunt in Delhi because she's read the Ramayana a number of times. So she refused to even hear anything against Ram. She kept saying, "Ye to Ram ki leela thi, Krishna leela," and we ended it over there. And so we never spoke on that again. Now coming back to the topic, when Ram went looking for Sugriv, he had an agenda, a motive. It was a need-based friendship, not selfless. Ram needed Sugriv's help to find Sita. It was like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. So they went around the fire and formed a pact. Now friendship does not need a pact. And Ram had only one friend. Otherwise he was a son, a brother, but there was no friendship in these relationships. He was a husband, but no friendship. So and then Ram waged war against Vali without hearing Vali's side of the story. I mean, the kingdom never belonged to Sugriv in the first place. So, yeah, okay. So why didn't he hear Vali's side of the story also? And now he had a very good relationship with his brothers. Ram had a very good relationship with his brothers. So why did he not reconcile Vali and Sugriv instead of waging war against Vali? Now Vali was an animal and he was not bound by human rules of dharma. So if he had taken Sugriv's wife, he was not breaking any law. If we say that he was fighting for dharma, now Vali had not broken any law of dharma. Now after the war, when Sugriv got his kingdom back and he got his wife back, he became busy in his worldly pleasures and in ruling his kingdom, he forgot about his promise to Ram. Ram got very angry with Sugriv and sent a stern threat through Lakshman. This is not a sign of a true friend. And Sugriv seems to be a person of a cowardly nature, so running for his life. But Ram, as a friend, does not make any effort to lift him from his weaknesses. And since Sugriv was a weak-charactered person, should Ram have made him the king? Or did Ram do it for his personal motive in order to use Sugriv's Vanar Sena to find Sita? Thank you.
Respected Swamiji and friends, Lord Ram was an avatar. We are not at a level where we can sit in judgment over the actions of an incarnation. However, from an analytical understanding of Ramayana and for the thinking process which the scripture wants to instill in us, we take the liberty to analyze the pros and cons of Lord Ram's behavior in context of Sugriv and Vali episode and in many other contexts. So touched was Lord Ram to his friend Sugriv's plight and situation that Ram put back his own grief and he subordinated his own sorrows to bring back joy and light in the life of his friend. And Ram had so much, as my partner told that he could have listened to Bali. I have a counter argument. You have so much trust in your friend. You have so much, he had so much trust, though the pact which you were saying that they have the pact, it turned into a friendship. When we meet somebody, it is just an acquaintance. And through acquaintance, after meeting once or twice, you started liking that person. He thought he would be a true friend and the pact changed into a friendship. And Ram was termed as Maryada Purushottam to fulfill his promise to Sugriv and to restore Sugriv his annexed kingdom. Vali had taken out away. Vali had to be taken out. Vali could not be killed in the frontal battle because of his boon. Ram had to shoot Bali from the back. Why did he do this? Were his ideals and principles not dear to him? They were, but the welfare of his friend was more dear to him. Not that he loved his ideals less, but he loved his friend more. Such friendship is a divine one. After Bali was killed and Sugriv regained his kingdom and his glory, Sugriv lost his royal pleasures as she told, but he had his patience and understanding towards him for a long time, like a true friend. Which friend would permit such leniency in such tense situation? But Ram did. Lakshman got really wild, but Ram was pursuing him to keep his cool. Angad was the son of Bali who killed Ram, and Ram gave Angad the kingdom. He was declared as the prince and trusted him completely. Angad, and he was in one of his army teams also, and his friendship was beyond any social or political considerations. The wife of Bali, Tara, contemplated Sati at that time. And since Ram was sworn friendship to Sugriv, by implementation, Ram was sworn friendship to the entire kingdom. Ram could not bear the thought of Tara committing Sati. He went to Tara and explained, and Tara was not, she did not go for Sati. When Ram came back of Ayodhya victorious, he proudly announced Sugriv, Angad and all his subjects as his dear friends. And as you were saying, Ram had very less friends. Ram had many touchy relations with his friends, irrespective of their status. Some of the friends Ram had: Gua, the king of Nishadas, a caste whose profession was hunting birds; Sugriv, a Vanar king; and Vibhishana, the brother of Ravan, who was his enemy's brother. Okay, two more points. Okay. Ram crowned Vibhishan after he crowned him as the king of Lanka. Though Ram did not keep Ravan's kingdom for himself, he loved his friend so much and gave him back what he procured. Ram, even in his human carnation, was a perfect. Even if he befined anyone, he would be perfect because he thought from his intellect and never from his heart. And so there was no relation with emotionalism. Friendship is not mere just giving out one's wealth. It is giving oneself, himself to the friend. And that was Lord Ram did love and friendship.
listening to all this fire and brimstone going around, I really feel the generation gap. As children, we never spoke like you all. Literature was one of the subjects which I enjoyed in school, and while looking for material for today's subject, I found a quote in my old diary which had made an impression on my understanding of who God is, and it is relevant to me even today when I speak about the Lord Ram as a friend. This is a quote: "A blessed thing it is for any man or woman to have a friend, one human being, one human being whom we can trust utterly, who knows the best and the worst of us, and who loves us in spite of all our faults, who will speak the honest truth to us while the world flatters us to our face and laughs at us behind our back, who will give us counsel and reproof in the day of prosperity and self-conceit, and who again will comfort and encourage us in the day of difficulty and sorrow when the world leaves us alone to fight our own battle as best as we can." My parents had said, there is only one who fits this bill, the Lord in human form, as Rama or Krishna, a concept which suits the mind of a child. Later, as my mother explained when I was a young adult, this love can be gradually honed through reverence and devotion to make a more mature person of moral excellence. There are many instances of beautiful friendships. There are many instances of beautiful friendships displayed by Lord Ram, which will serve as guidelines to the way we should conduct ourselves. Rama was unparalleled in the qualities which make a man great. Being an avatar of Vishnu, he possessed all the 16 colors of the Lord. But I have just chosen a couple which apply to him of being a friend. Tranquil and unruffled, Ram was friendly with everybody. In friendship, with reference to Hanuman in particular, we see the real meaning of gratitude, Kritagnya. Ram was grateful for every favor he received and included Hanuman and all the Vanars at his coronation on returning to Ayodhya. He took them there with honor and hospitality. To Hanuman he gave pride of place right in front of him. And when gifts are being given, Sita, wishing to give her precious necklace to some great person, looked at Ram, who said, "Give it to one whom you consider to be all that a person should be, who possesses all the finest qualities." That recipient was not a family member, but a friend, Hanuman. Ram was very firm in his vows, Drida Vrita. One of them, called Ekavachani, was the one he gave his friend Vibhishan, who joined Rama in a war on Adharma against his own brother, Ravan. Embracing Vibhishan, Ram said, "It is my vow to offer refuge to anyone who comes to me even once and says, 'I am yours.'" This shows Rama's loyalty and compassion, standing firmly by a friend even in the most difficult of circumstances. It shows us an important value to be cultivated, especially by our politicians today, and the importance of total surrender to the Lord. How he overlooks the past record of a devotee and makes him fearless. I don't have much time, so I'll just go right to the end. Stories of Ram are many, and each one is more inspiring than the previous. The beauty is that even if you cannot remember a story, you can always remember his name. His name, 2 syllables, but it is enough. It is powerful, and when you chant, if you make a mistake and say it backwards, it is even more sweet and equally powerful. The name becomes Amar. The idea is that by chanting his name, you can move forward and stay in the self. And in this effort, if you make it with sincerity and faith, Rama will help you. I'd like to end with another relevant quote from my diary. It says, "Dear Lord, I don't remember when I first began to call you friend. I only know that the vague companionship that I'd seen grow so imperceptibly turned to gold and ran in tune with all I'd thought or dared to plan and achieve. Thank you, Lord, for your love and your precious friendship.
Okay, so the floor group gets the chance to question the...
Anything? Yeah? Any question?
First, she told that Ram didn't have any friends. So I question argument that he had lot of friends, and she told it was a pact and not a friendship. In our relationship in daily life, we also start not with a friend like first day you meet and it becomes the best of your friends. You take time, you try to analyze if that person is according to you and your feelings, and then it grows. So when you start with anybody, it is a pact in life too. So Ram also maybe started, but it ended into a very good friendship. So it was just the starting and it was not a pact. And regarding the point that Bali, regarding he should have checked with Bali and the Sugriv point you told. But at that time, you have so much trust in a friend that you don't want to listen. Sometimes you have so much trust in your husband. He's saying he's doing wrong. You don't go to the other person and the counter husband. Are you doing right? You don't do that. You trust your friend. Whatever he's saying is right. And that is what Ram did.
Anyone else?
Yeah, please.
One is that when you meet someone...
Would you like to come here?
I think I'm fine.
Okay.
And it's not a pact that you form. It's if I'm your friend, Amrita, I will not see a pact between you and me. I will just form a friendship. Now this was a pact. He went to Sugriv to get help for Sita, and then Sugriv, whatever his goals were, he told him and he said, okay, I'll help you. So it was a kind of a pact which did grow into a friendship. And your second point is that Ram had a lot of friends. He had made, wherever he went, he made friends. They were more his bhakts. Like when you spoke about Hanuman also was his bhakt. He was not his friend. He didn't know उन्होंने उनको I don't know what हुआ या केवल उनको तो पार कराया. Everywhere he had friends. Wherever he went, he made friends. They were all his bhakts as far as I know. And also Vibhishan came to his shelter. He didn't come as a friend. He came to seek help. And he did not come as a friend. And he never made him a friend. He fought against Ravan and got Sita back, and then Vibhishan was made the king. There was no friendship in this. And Hanuman also was a bhakt. Hanuman I didn't say, but thinking of Nishant Das was also a friend. On that I just suggested.
Audience? Okay. Any question from the audience? Otherwise, we'll ask Swamiji to sum up.
Why did he hit Bali from behind?
Yeah, because he had a boon that if you would have
Get up and answer.
He had a boon that if you would have hit him in the front, half his energy would have gone to Bali. So at that time he wanted to win the battle for his friend. That's why he did it from the back, because Bali had a boon.
So ideals are compromisable. On one hand, we've been arguing that he was Purushottam.
Yeah. For a friendship, you do everything. When he was
You compromise values?
At that time, he was giving justice to him.
One at a time, please.
It was a justice he was giving to his friend, because he thought that his friend has been...
No, but her point is valid. To give justice, you
cannot compromise dharma.
No,
Questionable, I would have.
Yes.
We will have to say friendship.
Friendship is unquestionable. If I
friendship is unquestionable, so you can compromise on dharma. So you put friendship above everything, but you don't put your dharma as a putra above everything.
Hariyo.
Exactly, that's what.
Just one. Okay. Stand up and say it one at a time. Then it's.
What do you think is the difference between a friend and a bhakt?
A bhakt is a friend.
Okay, that's your point of view. Anybody else? Can I ask Swamiji to sum up, because we are running out of time. The puja is supposed to start. So can I ask him to sum up?
Yes.
Okay.
I won't ring the bell now.
I mean, definitely I can't finish in 5 minutes each point. So many points have been raised.
I don't need the bell.
Let's see. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Neelambujasya Malakomalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Panau Mahasaya Kacharu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvamshanatham. Hari Om. So first and foremost, I would like to congratulate all the groups and everyone present here, because the purpose of this entire debate was to set us thinking and was to make us question Lord Ram and understand his standpoint. And in that, I think we have fairly succeeded, and the enthusiasm that has been generated because of this is very good. As Shanti Amma already said, that earlier generation never questioned, and this generation questions a lot. And both of them, in unmistakable terms, just because they question or they don't question doesn't mean that they are not devoted to the Lord. The questioning is to understand. So 1. 2, when I am going to present the case now, I am going to talk about it from an open mind standpoint. So those of you who are listening, don't conclude that I already am for Ram and hence I am going to present the case. It is not like that. Whatever is rationally possible is what we are going to evaluate, and then we are going to speak about it. Okay. So first and foremost, in all the 3 cases, I should say that we must go back to our scripture. We must definitely refer to the scripture as the authentic evidence. There are today enough translations available. There is a Penguin publication of Valmiki Ramayana, which is just the literal translation of what is written in Valmiki Ramayana. There is Tulsi Ramayana, obviously all of you know that. So we should first open the book and see what is written in the scripture. Because a lot of things are hearsay. A lot of things are tradition. First case in point is, as far as Ram as a husband is concerned, I will say what is the tradition, what is written in the scripture. First and foremost, there is no episode of Dhobi in the scripture anywhere. There is no Dhobi episode in Valmiki Ramayana, and there is no Dhobi episode even in Tulsi Ramayana. Okay? No, argument still holds. I'll tell you how the whole thing has happened. Second, Ram never asked for Agni Pariksha. Both, actually in Tulsi Ramayana there is no Agni Pariksha, there is no repudiation. Agni Pariksha is there, right. Tulsi Ramayana, Agni Pariksha is there. There is no banishing of Sita. In Tulsi Ramayana, if you see in Uttarkand, there is absolutely no banishing of Sita mentioned by Tulsi Das ji. But we consider Valmiki Ramayana as more, I won't say authentic, but we say Valmiki Ramayana as fulfilling the purpose of Lord Ram's birth. Because Valmiki Ramayana narrates the incidents as Ram as a human. And so they will show everything. Ram goes through jealousy, he goes through insecurity, he goes through anger, he loses his mind. All that happens to him as a human. And yet he doesn't compromise from dharma in spite of going through these human influences. So that's the purpose of Ram Avatar also. Ram Avatar is not as a Ram as God. Ram Avatar is Ram as human, how to live dharma in spite of human influences. In Tulsi Ramayana, Ram is Bhagwan. And everyone considers Ram only as Bhagwan and praises Ram as Bhagwan. So considering that, in Valmiki Ramayana you will find that the entire episode, the way it happens, I will come to that one by one now. So these are first two aspects, that Ram doesn't ask for Agni Pariksha and there is no argument of a dhobi. Now we come to the points which have been presented for and against. Actually, I expected that the team which is against in all the three would be absolutely vehement. But I found the team which was against a little mild as far as husband is concerned. It could have been very, very forceful arguments, because you have solid ammunition which you can load against Ram as a husband. Against as a friend and as a son, of course there are, but as a husband though, you can just be absolutely loaded with it and just keep firing. But anyway, their arguments were very less. The arguments of Ram as a husband, as a good husband, those were very, very powerful here. Even in the, in the counter argument. So this Ram for and against. Now let us analyze as a husband. So the points which were given out are, first was said against, what was the point? That you have to go through the trial by fire. Now the trial by fire, when Ram took, when this whole episode, the way it is narrated is, when Ram wins after killing Ravan, he calls Hanumanji and he says, go to Sita ji and inform her that Ravan has been killed and now she is secure and Vibhishan has been made as the king, and give her the good news. So Hanumanji goes there and he gives the good news, and Sita becomes speechless and she is so thrilled. And then Hanumanji comes back to report to Ramji. So then Ram sends Vibhishan and he says that go and tell Sita to take a bath, to wear good clothes and ornaments and all that, and come to me with all decorations. So when Vibhishan goes and asks this to Sita ji, she tells that, I want to go as I am right now. I don't want to go with all that. But Vibhishan says, no, but this is the order of Lord Ram, and so he wants you to come in that way. So fine, she does that, and when she comes there, Ram is not able to look at her. He looks down. Sita is full of so much of excitement and she is looking forward because she has been waiting. Now in this context, one important point here is 14 years of Vanvas was there. This entire episode happened in the last 1 year. Okay. For 13 years, they lived happily in the forest. So as a husband, it is not that he just had love at first sight and then, sab disappear ho gaya. That was not true, because he lived as a husband. And that point that this group brought out, that actually Sita herself praises Ram throughout the Ramayana, including when he sends her out to Valmiki's ashram. I'll come to that point. So Sita is very enthusiastic and she comes there because 1 year she has been away from Ram, and obviously this whole mental torture of being kidnapped and being in Ravan's place. So when she comes with so much of enthusiasm, she wants to express something and she just says, my lord. And Ram, in a very cold and stern voice, tells her that the war has been won. Sugriv, Vibhishan, Hanuman, they all have put so much of efforts, and ultimately we have done this whole thing. But remember, I have not done this for you. I have done this for the honor of my family, and I have done this for the Kshatriya race. I have not done this only as a husband for you to just rescue my wife. Because the fame, the reputation of my family is very, very important, and do not think that I have done it only for you. And as far as you are concerned, he says that you have been in with Ravan for more than a year. I have no desire for you. You can go to either Lakshman or Sugriv or Vibhishan or Bharat. This is said in Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana.
He didn't know this.
Please. That's what I'm saying. We have to see what is our scripture saying. This is what Ram says. It's a very it puts Ram in a very bad light that he did not trust his wife. Forget he did not trust his wife. He told her to whom she should go. And who are the names?
His own brother.
Lakshman, Bharat, Sugriv, Vibhishan. These are the names. He didn't say Shatrughan. He just said these 4. So when he said that, Sita couldn't imagine that this is what she will get when she comes back. She admonishes Ram. She says that, I did not expect this. I thought you would trust in my purity and you would not doubt me. And now that you have said this, I don't think there is any justification that I want to give. And the only thing that I want to do is, I don't want to live anymore, because if you are not going to accept me, why did you even send Hanuman? You should have just told Hanuman that, tell Sita to go to any of these people, I don't desire her. Why did you even send Hanuman? And why did you even fight this whole war? And if at the end of it you are saying that it's for the name of your family that you have done it, and not for me, then there is no reason for me to live now. So I don't want to live. And he tells Lakshman that set up a pyre here. Lakshman doesn't do anything. What will he do? But he looks at Ram. Ram doesn't say no. Ram is still looking down. Ram just doesn't look at Sita throughout the conversation. So he goes, Lakshman sets up a pyre, lights it, and Sita says that if I am pure, if my conduct has been such that I have not even entertained a thought about Ravan, if I have not, except the time when Ravan pulled her away from the ashram and took her in the Viman, she has not been touched by Ravan, she has not thought about Ravan. And so she says all that. And she says, Agni, in our culture, Agni is called as Jata Veda. So Jata Veda means that which is the witness of everything. The Sakshi of everything. Because every ritual that we do it in front of Agni, and Surya is the Sakshi. Right? So as Agni is a manifestation of that. So she says that Agni, you are the Sakshi of everything. You know each and everything that has happened. Because even in the absence of people, Agni remains. Hence, she says that you are the only one who can testify, give me the, proof. So I enter into you. And if I am pure, then you have to prove it. So then she enters into the fire, and then Agni Devta comes out with Sitaji. So now this is the pariksha that happens to her. And when she comes out, along with her, when she enters the fire, all these devtas have all come. Brahmaji and Shivji and Indra, Varuna, Vayu, all of them come there. And they all, they all criticize Ram, saying that how could you do this? How could you even doubt her? And how did you even, tell her such things? So everybody condemns Ram there. It is not that Ram is only looked up as a god there. Everyone condemns Ram. And Ram, obviously he himself as a husband, he has not been able to look at Sita ji. That itself is a very big point to understand. That he did feel that what he knows is obviously right, that Sita is very pure, but he has a conflicting duty now, because he, on that day the war got over, 14 years as exile are over. In fact, Bharat has said that the day 14 years end, and if you are not back, I will immolate myself. So actually the war ended on the last day of the 14th year. And this entire episode is happening. So Bhagwan has, even when Bharat came to ask him to return, ultimately if you see what has happened there, is Bharat returns with the Padukas of Bhagwan. He places the Padukas in Ayodhya, and it is Ram only who is ruling. It is not Bharat who is ruling. But it is by proxy that is happening. Bharat is executing the order. So he would actually ask the Padukas the decision, and then he would take the decisions. He would never take the decisions on his own. So even in 14 years of exile, actually it was Ramji who was ruling. But anyway, that argument aside, that day when the decision the exile got over, Ram is already the prince now. And he knows that he has to face the public. Now what Ram did here is he put his duty as a prince above his duty as a husband, because as a husband he has no problem. He did not have to prove anything, Sita did not have to prove anything to him. But he has to do his duty as a king. And you just imagine, as somebody raised the point already, that even after Sita ji has proved her point in Agni Pariksha, look at what the public was speaking. Suppose that Agni Pariksha was not done. Do you think Ram would have been justified even as a husband? Did he not do this while performing his duty as a king? Was his duty as a husband not also performed along with that? Please remember, we think that while performing the duty as a king, he compromised his duty as a husband. But he did not. In performing the duty as a king, he also fulfilled his duty as a husband, because he proved very clearly that Sita is pure. Clearly, no doubt in that. And as somebody said that it was very demeaning, insulting to ask her, none of that is there, because he did not ask her to enter Agni Pariksha. Sita ji herself went into it. 1. 2. He took the blame on himself. Today everybody condemns whom? Ram, right? The dignity of Sita ji, by asking her to prove and making that public to everybody, and he put himself in a bad light, right? By even telling those words to Sita ji. What is written in Valmiki Ramayana, if you read, you suddenly feel that how come this Ram is speaking like that? But that is where the human side of his we have to understand. That as a husband, though he did not doubt, but as a prince, when he has to prove, can he say that in public that, look Sita, I trust you, but let us do this drama? He can't. He has to say it in such a way that, look, I did this for my family, and you have to prove you have to, if you want to go anywhere, you go wherever. All that he has to say that. It cannot be done in a very nicely soothing manner that, okay, let us have a pact and we do this for a higher duty. It can't be done like that. Anybody who has, any wife who has gone out that way, or even for that matter, any spouse who has gone out that way, the individual relationship, there will be security and trust possibly. But if there is a call of a higher duty there, if Ram had done this, that, as a wife I trust her, but for the sake of public I have to do this, do you think that would be acceptable? They would not trust that king. Think about it. Because they will say that personally though he doesn't doubt, that means he has authorized the, that one whole year whatever Ravan did with her. And that's the whole point. When second time this happens, how this whole story happened second time, there is no dhobi, because I don't know from where that dhobi came, some custom they have brought it in, or maybe some other version of Ramayana it has. But that incident, the way it happens is, when Ram is coronated, everything is fine. The description of Valmiki Ramayana is, Ramji would spend half a day, first half of his day, performing his duties as a king. The second half of the day, he was only with Sita ji. And for all that 1 year that she was away from him and she was feeling hurt and whatever, he made up for all that. And you will see the description in Ramayana. And that is how then Sita ji becomes pregnant. And once when Ramji goes to her that way, she tells him that, see, now that I am expecting, I have a desire that I need to go to banks of Ganga ji, take a dip there, live in the satsang of the great Mahatmas and do some, and she says that, I must have more and more of these good influences around me, so I have a desire to go and stay. So Ram says, fine, tomorrow this shall happen. The next day, he is sitting in his court and there are his courtiers who are explaining to him various things. So he asks a question to them that, now that I have become the king, tell me what is the Praja thinking about me, about Sita, about all the three mothers and all the other brothers. What is the Praja thinking? And he says, tell me honestly, do not hide anything. So one of his courtiers, he gets up and he says, that now that you have told me to say honestly, now I will tell you both the sides, good and bad. So he says the good that they are saying is, nobody has ever done this, nobody has built a bridge across and then fought with a and did so many things and got the wife back, and all that is the good part which they are saying about the king. But they are also saying that by accepting Sita back and making her the queen, Ram has set a very bad example for us, because now we will have to accept our wives straying also. So Ram gets shocked. Then he gets up, he asks all the other courtiers that what this person is saying, is it true? And everybody bends their head down in expressing that yes, what he is saying is true, and this is what the public is thinking. Now imagine the same Praja which was pining for Ram to come back, which has celebrated the coronation of Ram, but silently behind the back of Ram, this is what they all are talking. Suppose Ram, at that point, if you say that, so what? Let them talk. He should have been just to Sita. He should not have left her out, sent her out. He should have been a good husband there. Do you think it would have been good for Sita to live in that kind of an environment where everybody doubts her? There is nobody trusting her. People are gossiping. And secondly, Sita was pure. She had proved her purity also. In spite of that, if people are talking this way, by keeping Sita ji as the queen, what is the conduct in the society which is being encouraged? People will anyway take that licentiousness, saying that Ram accepted the wife, so why can't you accept? Anything will happen. There will be absolute immorality in the whole kingdom, which is not the purpose. And one person in that situation, it is Sita ji who has to face the consequences of it. But that is what sacrifice is all about there. In sending Sita ji away, now what he does, he calls Lakshman and he says, tell Sita that she had desired to go and stay in the satsang of some Mahatmas, and that Ram has told you to go and take her and leave her at the banks of, at the ashram of Valmiki. He doesn't tell Sita anything. Because he says to Lakshman that if I have to tell this to Sita, Sita will not be able to handle it, and also that if I tell this to Sita, he understands his own emotional condition at that time. He says that I myself will break down and Sita can't look at me that way. So just tell her and you take. Now in that, the question was that Ram never asked her the choice. First and foremost, he did not make a decision there as a husband. He made the decision there as a king. And in many matters of the kingdom, the opinion of the king doesn't keep asking the queen for the opinion. One. You may say that no, but as a wife she deserved everything to be asked and she should have been consulted before she was sent out. The conditions at that time are such that whatever decision the husband is taking, the wife abides by it. Number one. Number two is the most beautiful aspect of the tuning that is there between Ram and Sita, where they don't have to consult and they don't have to ask. So ultimately when Lakshmanji takes her and drops her at the Valmiki's ashram, Lakshman breaks down. He cannot control himself. In between, in Gangaji, actually he breaks down. Not even reaching that Valmiki ashram. In between, when the boat reaches Gangaji, then he breaks down. And Sita just can't understand because Lakshman is all the way quiet. She says, why are you breaking down? Just 2 nights, because it took them 2 nights to go there. She says, just 2 nights you are away from Ram and you are suffering so much. Imagine I have been away for a whole year that way. And Lakshman doesn't respond to that and he keeps crying. He says, what has happened? Is the king well? Has anything happened to the mother-in-law? What is the issue? Then he says that I am sorry, but death should have come to me before I should have done this. But this is my duty and I have to do this. So please don't misunderstand. And he tells her that this is what has happened in the court and this is what it is, and then Ram has told that I should be leaving you there. And you know what Sita says? She says, what Ram has done, of course, is very painful to me, but for the honor of the king and for the good of the kingdom, what Ram has done is fine and I abide by that. This is written in Valmiki Ramayana. So she accepts. So there is no question of Sita not being consulted and Sita should have been consulted, then a mutual decision has to be taken. He did not do that even for going into the forest. Please remember, it is not that at his whim and fancy he decides not to talk and at his whim and fancy he decides to talk. Even for going to the forest, did he consult Sita ji? Did he say that, I am banished, so let me have a consultation with you that would you like to come or no? He took a unilateral decision there saying, look, I am going, full stop. Sita ji comes there saying, I also want to come with you, and he dissuades her many times, and then he says, okay, fine, if you have to come, then come. Same with Lakshman. So we have to understand the time also, and you have to understand the tuning also. And Sita ji, you see these films and this drama, they have to show all that. And we also have to get carried away by that Sita feels so dejected, devastated कि मेरे को अभी जीने के लिए क्या है, अभी मैं पृथ्वी में चली जाऊंगी, and all nonsense. Well, that is all kind of drama that this serials they have to create, because their business has to run, their TRP has to go. If they present it like this, what will happen to them? Actually, if they present it like this, there is enough drama in this. If you read that Valmiki Ramayana, how much conflict Ram goes through, my God. His entire life after that, you should read what it is. Miserable. We think that, Ram banished Sita, happily ruled the kingdom. Do you know what it is to rule the kingdom and love the same praja because of whom you are in absolute pain? Can you do that? We don't think that from Ram's standpoint. Sita, 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 Sita all the time. Sita ke against Ram ke. Just think how much he did for the praja. The same praja which came to get him back, he did not listen to that praja. That is Ram. And you think that he is a madman who will just start thinking about the praja and one stupid dhobi who said something and sent Sita away? Ram stood only for dharma. Only. And the way Ram stood for dharma, Gurudev used to say that one youngster asked him that, Swamiji, how do I find an ideal person? You talk so much about ideals, how do I find the ideal person? So Gurudev replied to him that don't look for an ideal person because you won't find one. Look for an ideal in every person you meet. Then he said, if you still want to look for an ideal person, there is only one person in the entire history, and that is Ram. Who was an ideal husband, an ideal king, an ideal son, an ideal friend, ideal in everything. Why was he an ideal in everything? Because he was ideal. His ideal was dharma, that's it. And he knew at what time to take which role and what standpoint. So he did his role as a praja. For 11,000 years it is said he ruled the kingdom. Imagine somebody who gives you a proposal and that proposal is rejected. You give a proposal to somebody, the proposal gets rejected. What people do? They get into drugs, depression, they become devdas. What all happens? And here is a person, for no fault of his, he has to be separated from his wife time and again. So one is we have to look at Ram from the standpoint of a king, and in the standpoint of a king, he did not compromise his standpoint as a husband. While following the dharma as a king, he also followed his dharma as a husband, and he protected Sita ji's fame also, he protected Sita ji's name also. He did whatever he could do. Yes, there seems to be a painful part to it, but there is a reason for that also. And that's where you come into the mystical part, that Bhagwan did this whole thing even because there are two curses that he took upon himself. One is the curse of a rishi called Bhrigu, and another is the curse of Naradji, where both of them cursed him that you have to take a form as a mortal and you have to be separated from your beloved and you have to go through this viraha of your spouse. So that he had to accept, and so he did that. So various standpoints are there for Ram as a husband. And yeah, so I've answered most of them. Ram was a control freak and Ram was... Yeah. Right. Anyone else has anything to ask against this? The points which were brought out as Ram for husband, of course, many nice points that Sita praised him and Ekapatni Vrata and so many other points which are given here. And they had 13 years, so lovingly they spent in the thing. You know, we take only these 2 episodes and we say Ram is not an ideal husband. But from Sita's standpoint, such good things that they have gone through together.
That you can go to Bharat, Lakshman or Devi, then because of the family honor, then I think Bharat and Lakshman were also from the same family. So what was not good for Ramji, how could it be good for Bharat?
Yeah, so the point there in case is that when a person, when he says that, it's an absolute, it is putting him only in a bad light. It is not that he is logically evaluating and saying you can choose these options. He is just enumerating.
Provoke her into taking this Agni Pariksha, or it was genuinely meant that she should go to it?
See, that's the thing. It is not genuinely meant, because if it was genuinely meant, that doesn't mean, that means that there is no tuning between them. It was said in Valmiki Ramayana, the analysis is that Ram was a human. So when you get into that type of a in that type of a situation, many times what you say also is not in your control. So his saying what he said, his repudiation was also human, and his repentance was also human.
So he didn't actually believe in her purity by saying that.
No, he believed in the purity, but that's what I'm saying, that he has to act it out that way, na? He can't say it in that way that, positively it goes about, ki look, I believe in your purity, but you have to prove this. How does that work? That will not work that way.
But in that he didn't have to say ki you go to the
See, that's what I'm saying. So we are looking at it from that logical standpoint that he should not have said this. But why did he say that? That puts him only in a bad light, no? That puts him in light saying that you absolutely didn't trust Sitaji and you told her to go to anybody. What he could have said, you tell me ideally. Just tell me that. Go to anybody. Yeah, he could have avoided that statement, agreed, from our standpoint. But at that point in time, when you are in that situation, yeah, the anger which is there and that conflict which is there, that I have to do this. He said what he said.
So Swamiji, are you trying to say that when he said all this, he was acting as a human being?
He was.
He was a jealous husband, wondering whether this...
See, this is where you have to understand the part, both the aspects, that he has to create a situation where it is appearing that he asked her to prove the purity.
He's basically trying to...
But from inside he is not. Inside he is not doubting at all. And he explains that after the whole thing gets over, when all the Devatas come and they ask question Ram, they always say that yes, Sita's purity I never doubted. And in Valmiki Ramayana it comes to the next point where he says, where Dashrathji comes. Hari Om, is this required right now? Why suddenly we are starting distributing? Dashrathji comes, Shivji brings Dashrath Maharaj. And Dashrath Maharaj tells there that Ram, I did not understand what you were doing at that time and I was very heartbroken. But today I understand that because you fulfilled this whole vow, I have, that one group which said, I have been prevented from falling down. Because the Putra did the duty, the father gets Sadgati and goes ahead. So he tells that to Ram. And he tells to Sita that Ram never doubted your purity, believe me, because when people are in that higher realms, they understand our own minds also. So human beings, we will question Ram's thinking because we will not know what is the intention. So in Valmiki Ramayana, Dashrath Maharaj is brought there. And Dashrath Maharaj says, not even any Devta, Dashrath Maharaj says that Ram was always trusting you. It was not that Ram doubted your purity, but Ram has to do this as a duty, as a king, and that is for your welfare only that he did this. So never ever doubt what Ram thinks about you. So that's how Valmiki Ramayana presents this whole, because it has to justify the episode and it has to present the side of Ram also, and so it is presented in that way.
Basically, he was just doing an acting. It was just a show, sort of.
As a human, he went through everything, but he did not compromise with his dharma. And at some places where he did, where it is shown that yes, he used these names of these people, is to show the human frailty. Yeah, anger can do a lot of things to a person.
And it sounds authentic also.
Yeah.
The way the scene is presented.
Right. For, what is the second one? Sun was the second one, right? So the points which were presented in against is, will we go away for the family for our duty? Yes, of course we will go for the family for a higher duty, as the example was given for the army and all these things. One will go. Especially when Dashrath was dying. Now again here the clarity has to be there. Dashrath, when Ram left, Dashrath was in tremendous sorrow. Bharat came back. Before Bharat came back, Dashrath had collapsed. So it was not that Dashrath was dying and then everybody had gone there to call Ram, and knowing that Dashrath is dying, still he didn't come back. So the fact is not that. Fact is, between the arrival of Bharat and departure of Ram, Dashrath died. Now please remember, Dashrath died because of his putra moha. Neither Ram is responsible for it, nor Bharat is responsible for it. You cannot say that, because of Ram this man died. Why did not Kaushalya die? Why did not Kaikeyi die? Why did not Sumitra die? So, just because Dashrath died doesn't mean Ram was not an ideal son, right? And Kaikeyi never took back her boon. When they went to call, Kaikeyi said, I am very sorry, I came under the influence of some delusion and I said what I said, but now I take back my boon and please come back. And that's where Ram says that once the word is given, it is not a simple boon. My father has granted the boon to you. So you can't just take the boon back. Now my father has given the vachan, and if I don't fulfill, who is going to get harmed is the father. 1. 2, the second point was that just because she feels now repentant, the consequence of an action cannot be avoided. Once you leave an arrow, you suddenly realize that the target is wrong, you can't change. It will go and hit. So again, the point there to understand is that one has to be very, very careful. Even if you come under the influence of a delusion, that is where that control has to be, that okay, right now I am deluded, let me not take a decision, let me not act. But she acted. Then comes the point that he satisfied Dashrath, but he was unjust to his subjects. First of all, he was not the prince. So he had no duty to his subjects at all. Okay? 2, obedience to the parent is something which is very deeply rooted in our culture. And hence, if you see Lord Ram, right from his childhood, absolutely obedient. And why there is obedience which is given in our culture so much of importance? Because in life, there has to be vivek, discrimination to take our own decisions. As a child, the discrimination is not awakened so much. Nor do I have experience. So how do I know what is right and what is wrong? So I trust the intelligence of the parent and obey explicitly till my vivek does not come up. And this tradition in our culture goes on for not just few years of childhood. Obedience to the parent is the thing which is throughout. Today it is that we find that children are independent and they take their own decisions, and at 18 years they move out. That is the culture of today. At that point the culture is that obedience has to be there. So he went to Vishwamitra also to fight the demons. That time also Dashrath Maharaj had moh, right? He did not want the children to go. Now the point here to understand that is that only, that obedience he was explicitly following right from his childhood. He was very obedient to his teachers also, Vasishtha and Vishwamitra. He was obedient to his parents. So one quality of dharma is obedience. A son should use his intellect. In this situation, the son doesn't use the intellect because he is not required to. He is not given a choice. It is the father who has promised the boon to the mother. Mother is encashing the boons, saying that the son, one son has to go to forest for 14 years, one son has to be coronated. In fact, if you see the obedience of Ramji, Bharat says that, you come back now because the mother is asking and father who gave the boon is dead and the whole praja wants you back. And I, who am given the kingdom, I don't want the kingdom, so you take it, you come back. The argument that Ram gives there, he says that the vachan that father gave, it is not enough if I only fulfill the vachan. That is only half the job done. You also have to fulfill the vachan. And hence he says that the condition was this, that I will be banished for 14 years into the forest and you will be the king. So you have to be the king. Only then the vachan purti will happen. So he, not only is he obedient, he makes even Bharat follow that and does not get him into that delusion. That's where the loyalty to dharma is. That it is not to people. Please remember that our loyalty is not towards people because people come and go in our lives. And we get attached to them in that delusion, we compromise with dharma. His entire life, if you see Ram, he has held on to only one. That's why you call him as the very embodiment of dharma. In Valmiki Ramayana it is called Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. He is the embodiment of dharma. And the beauty of that is he did not compromise anywhere. We think that for a higher duty he compromised with a lower duty. That he didn't. Bharat can't be compared to Ram, and so Ram should have ruled the praja. This is again not a valid point because Bharat, in fact, Ram considered Bharat as equal to him. Even in Hanuman Chalisa, you see the compliment that he gives to Hanuman is Tum mama priya bharatahi samabhai. In fact, for Ram, all four were equals only. And this thing about him being, four brothers being the four heads of Brahmaji or some 100% Vishnu and 25% Vishnu and all that is not there in the Shastra. If at all it is there in the Shastra says that Lakshman was the avatar of Sheshnag. And the different things which are said there. All the three mothers became widows. All the mothers lost their children and Janak was also very miserable. Very powerful argument. This argument of the son as against were very, very powerful. So here, all the three mothers became widows, not because Ram went away. Because of Dashrath's weakness, please. Why are you blaming Ram for that? Dashrath was first of all weak to tell no to Kaikeyi. Second, he was not strong enough to bear the consequences of his own karma. Why did he give that boon to Kaikeyi in his, what do you say? Yeah, he gave that boon. Anything you ask, I will give. Who is he? Is he Sarvagnya? Is he Sarva Shaktiman that he can give such a boon that you ask anything and I will give you? Stupidity, no, of his. And he died for it. Now why blame Ram? Mother lost the children. Mother only is responsible for this, please. That one mother, Kaikeyi, she is only responsible to send one fellow away and one fellow to rule the kingdom, which means she did not understand her own children, right? She thought that Bharat will be very happy. Bharat comes back and curses Kaikeyi like anything. He doesn't even want to call her as mother. And look at the glory of Ram. Beauty of Ram's character is, he tells Bharat, first thing he asks Bharat when he comes back, when he comes to call him back is, are you treating Kaikeyi with respect? And first thing he does when all the three mothers come is he goes and bows down to Kaikeyi, not to Kaushalya. And he tells Dashrath Maharaj at the end that please forgive Kaikeyi, do not hold any grudge against her, and this is for your peace that I am telling you. Bhagavan tells that to Dashrath Maharaj. That's the character of Ram, who was so just to all, even as a son, what he did for his parents. Janak was also miserable now, that can't be helped. In fact, it is our assumption here that Janak was miserable because Janak Maharaj was Sthita Prajna. Why will he be miserable? For what? His duty was to do the last rites as the eldest son. Yes, agreed. His duty was to do the last rites as the eldest son. But to do the last rites, if he comes back, he himself is compromising from the vachan that he gave to his father, because the vachan was for 14 years you live in the forest without, in vulcal clothes. So without the luxuries of a forest, you should not be living a luxurious life. You should live like a wandering mendicant. That is what the boon said. That's what Kaikeyi asked. So right from the time they left, they went into the forest wearing the vulcal clothes. So these are the arguments which are put as against Ram as a son. And please, Dashrath did not order Ram to go. This was put as for. In the arguments of for, he was a good son. It was said that Dashrath didn't order Ram to go. Ram himself went. No, Dashrath only said that he has to go. Right, so these are points for son, and last is as the friend. Now it was a need-based friendship, not selfless. Again, the points which are put up against here, good, strong points. So it was a need-based friendship and not selfless. First of all, Ramji was not looking for an alliance. Sugriv, who was there, he did not have trust in Lord Ram. So he sent Hanumanji first to find out that who are these two people, because he thought that Vali has sent them to kill him. One. Even after he found out that they are the prince of Ayodhya, he did not trust Ram. He in fact told Ram that you have to prove that you can kill Vali, because Vali is so strong that he has defeated Ravan also. Very mightiest person at that point in time was Vali. So he says that you have to prove how strong you are, because otherwise I will not do this pact. It is not that Bhagwan wanted a pact of friendship. The pact was desired by whom? Sugriv, because Sugriv did not trust the power of Bhagwan. So then, I don't know if you are aware of that episode where these 7 sal trees are there, and with one arrow Bhagwan shoots and it pierces all the 7 trees, and then Sugriv understands, oh, this is no ordinary person. Then the pact is signed. So the trust was not, the mistrust was not from the side of Ram, it was from the side of Sugriv, because that guy is insecure, obviously, because Vali can send anybody in any disguise, because he can't reach that Rishyamukh Parvat. If Vali comes to Rishyamukh Parvat, he will die. So he has to send somebody or the other to finish Sugriv. That is one. Only one friend, that point was counteracted. He waged a war without hearing Vali's side. Yes, he waged a war without hearing Vali's side, because Vali was not open to listening. 1. 2, as the point was brought out earlier, that this was not that justice has to be done by Ram in this case, where he has to hear 2 sides of the case. It is here that Sugriv has presented his case to Ram, and Ram understood that yes, these things which have happened, they are not just, and he can, for his friendship that he has taken this pact, he can happily fight and kill Vali. He does not have to go find out what is just, what is unjust, because facts are clear. It is not that Sugriv has distorted the facts. If he goes to Vali, what will Vali say? Will he not say the same thing that Sugriv has told him? That when I was in that cave, this blood came out and the Sugriv got scared and he thought Vali is dead and that Dundubhi will come out and kill me. So then he got scared and so he blocked the cave with the rock and then he came back. Now when he came back, was it not true that Vali could have also asked Sugriv that, why did you block this? Why did he also assume that this fellow was interested in my kingdom and so he just did it on purpose? Sugriv did not have waited out for so many days, right? So he also didn't inquire. So there was no question of logically going into it because there was no logic involved in this. There was lots of emotional issues which are involved. Kingdom does not belong to Sugriv. So then why did Bhagwan do this? Yes, okay, kingdom did not belong to Sugriv, but Vali, when he was fighting there, did he not entrust Sugriv? What was the condition with which Vali went in? Vali went in with that condition saying that if I don't come out in certain number of days, take care of the kingdom. That was the thing which Vali told and he went. So how does the kingdom not belong to Sugriv? Kingdom belongs to Sugriv. In fact, that is the point because of which Ram also gets angry and he tells this to Vali. When Vali dies, Vali asks him that why did you kill me from behind? And many points are there in that. So in that, one of the points he says is this. And second point, he also says that forget any of this. You are a monkey. I am a Kshatriya. I can kill you. I can hunt. I can hunt an animal. Full stop. And to hunt an animal, I don't have to be in front of the animal. I can hunt from behind also. He brings many points there. Then he also says, why not reconcile? Why fight with Vali? Because Vali was not open to reconciliation. If Vali was open to reconciliation, this whole situation would not have arisen only. In fact, Vali was so hell-bent on taking the life of Sugriv that he was chasing Sugriv everywhere. The only place Sugriv could hide was Rishyamukh Parvat. So where is the question of any reconciliation? No question. Vali didn't break the law of dharma. Vali broke the laws of dharma. He took away this wife of Sugriv. Ruma was a wife of Sugriv. And you see interesting point here. You know, Vali kidnapped Sugriv's wife, which is Ruma. Ravan kidnapped Ram's wife, Sita. Okay. But when Sita comes, he does not accept. But he doesn't tell Sugriv that why are you accepting Ruma after Vali is killed. Nor he tells Sugriv that you have to test her purity. Why? Because they are animals. In the animal kingdom, they don't have those kind of rules and norms. So you have to understand many factors in that light. So Vali didn't break the law of dharma. He of course broke the law of dharma there. But he was an animal, but there he was working as a king, no? He did not trust his son, his own brother, and he was after his life. For what reason? As a king of animals there, of course he is an animal, but he has a code of conduct there also, no? That he entrusted the thing to his brother and he went. And now he is only after the life of his brother for no fault of the brother. So is it not that even that little, whatever you call, moral obligation which he himself committed to is broken? Otherwise there is no need now. What is the problem? Suppose you take the argument even as a king. Is it not true, I mean as an animal, is it not true that one animal can take over this thing of another animal? What is the problem? Suppose Sugriv took away the kingdom. Now what is the issue? Vali also took it back away from him. So then where is the question of Sugriv should not have done this, so Vali is behind his life? That is not valid at all, right? Somebody was asking something here? Right. Ram sent Lakshman with a threat. No, that was said by the point that Ram did not send Lakshman with a threat. In fact, Ram sent Lakshman saying, find out now what is happening. Because monsoon, it was rainy season. And this Sugriv was in his own world, indulging. So then Bhagavan says, find out what has happened now. And Lakshman gets angry. Ram didn't lift Sugriv, though he was very weak. Agreed. Ram didn't lift Sugriv because there are certain people who have only certain capacity. The tapas that Vali had done, he got so much of strength. It was not possible that Sugriv can come up to the level of Vali. Because that much only is his temperament. So he can't lift Sugriv to the level of Vali, make him an equal and then make him fight there. Why make him the king? See here, it is a very nice point to understand that Vali was a person who had defeated Ravan. So technically speaking, if Ram wanted to win over Ravan, he could have happily taken Vali. Why he did not take Vali? Why he killed Vali? He would not even have to go to Lanka. He would have just sent Vali ki jao usko maar ke aao, khatam baat. So the point here is that why he made him the king, because that is what was promised in the pact also, because that's what Sugri wanted. And of course, Bhagwan is not interested in his kingdom there. That okay, I killed Wali, so I become, this kingdom comes under me. He is not interested there. Now in the pact it was that Sugri wanted the kingdom. And for that the trade-off was done finally. Otherwise you think that Sugri was so devoted that he would accept Bhagwan and he would help Bhagwan? No. If he was that much atur to help Bhagwan, he would have not relaxed so much after Wali was killed. So all these points which are there, right. So now, anything anybody has to ask? Okay, so now the winner. See, what I have given to you is very less in brief, but if you read the actual Ramayana, it's wonderful. Your reverence for Ram will just shoot up like anything. And if you analyze his character from what standpoint he takes a decision and how holistic his decision. Okay, so for Ram as a good husband, the winner is the group which spoke for. How many of them are there? Three of you, right? You are giving one to each, no? One, no? Yeah, just. Okay, ये तो अलग है क्या? Oh, cover is different. Okay. Hari Om, very forceful arguments. And some nice practical points. Breath analyzer test and all that. Who are two more? They went? No, only two of them took, no? Three took. You are a part of the group. Please come.
I didn't take part, so
No, you don't have to speak, but if you are there to contribute, then do come. Right. Then Ram as a good son. Those who were against, again. Those who were against, they had a valid case. So you take, for whoever has left, one of you take and then just reach it to her. Four? Okay. So I'm just giving it to them. You can collect it from. And then comes for a friend. Again, for a friend, it will be the points which are against. This is purely on the basis of debate and the kind of points that are brought out. Right. Okay, so hearty congratulations to all of you. I'm very, very happy that all of you could participate. All the participants, whoever has participated, please take, including the winners, please take this Prasad Pustika. Just give it, distribute them, because they come one by one, it will be taking time. Okay, so we quickly do the puja of Ramji and then we will wind up. Who is doing the puja? Yes. So please